Assalamu alaikum jami'an. Peace be upon everybody. Very excited to be here tonight to share with you my journey in transforming dreams into reality. I'm going to try and make it as fun as possible and start with when I was exactly your age. So when I was exactly your age as a teenager growing up in Jeddah, Saudi Arabia, my uncle Tariq helped us publish a magazine called the Jeddah Girls Gazette. And I had an article that I wrote in that magazine called Wild Female Dreams. So what did I write? What were my dreams when I was a teenager, more than 25 years ago? I will quote, "I dream of the day that I drive the streets of Tahliya. I dream of the day that I go to the stadium and watch my favorite football team. I dream of the day that I see women as sales in any store that I go to. I dream of switching on the television and finding and watching a live girls' basketball game before my eyes. I dream of the day that I see women in the police," and the list goes on. But what else was I doing? So I was also lucky to have encountered world champions that came to Saudi Arabia. Face to face with a champion like Muhammad Ali Clay, I realized the power of global sports and how you can represent your identity, your nation, and your religious culture through the universal language of sports. But I was also very active. I was captain of our high school basketball team because I went to a private Saudi school. We were exposed to certain programs at the time. After I graduated from college, I had the opportunity to go to the United States. I did my BA in communications and a minor in French. I came back, I got married, and I had my first child, Aya, who's here today. But I went through psychological and hormonal stress. I suffered from postpartum depression. But because I was an active person, I was able to regroup with my high school teammates and restart a team. And basically, nature took its course. The brain produced endorphins and happy hormones that really empowered me and made me feel so strong. And I felt like I was able to go back to my daughter after our practice and pull an all-nighter with her because I just felt so good about myself. And it was the happy hormones, it was the serotonin, it was all the chemicals in the brain that is produced after physical activity. So I did that for 3 years, and then I realized that this impact, this positive impact, should reach to the whole nation. And in 2006, where there's a will, there's a way, because there was no legislations for women in sports at the time, we found a loophole. We were able to start a commercial license under the Ministry of Commerce and the Jeddah Chamber of Commerce. And that was the way that enabled us to train tens of thousands of girls and boys and persons with disability, every segment in society. We were able to do that through that legislation. We expanded to Riyadh, to Khobar, because we really believed in the social impact of physical activity. On top of that, we also were big on media. We went out on international press because we wanted to change stereotypes about Saudi Arabia and Saudi women specifically, especially at an era before social media. And that continued for over a decade. In 2012, I was nominated to climb Everest Base Camp, headed by our ambassador today in the United States, Princess Rima bint Bandar. The purpose of this climb was to promote physical activity and send a message that you can climb the highest mountain, and also in solidarity with women who were diagnosed with breast cancer. And I remember the climb had a big impact at the time because it was at a time where women's sports or women activity was considered a taboo at the time. But we prevailed and we continued our journey until in 2016, and I remember very well, on the 25th of April 2016, I was standing in a football field, and I remember reading this new Saudi vision. And the Saudi vision, one of the objectives was of which to increase the physical activity from 13% to 40%. And I realized that this was in the core of everything that we were doing for the past decade, and I felt very empowered. I was very excited. I felt like this was a national vision that I was part of just by doing all the different activities in the past 13 years or so. The same year, I was nominated by King Salman to be part of the Shura Council. And for those of you who don't know the Shura Council, it is the Saudi parliament. I was able at that point, of course it's an honor that I will definitely take with me to the grave, because I was able to be the voice of the people. I was able to transform my dreams that I wrote about in that article when I was just a student, your age, and be able to voice it, to talk about it, to debate it. And that is exactly what happened. So, in the transformation years from 2016 to 2020, everything that I wrote about was unfolding. So, first thing I remember, the royal decree of allowing women to have their driver's license. And the first night I drove, I remember very well, red roses was being distributed by police officers and driving down the streets of Tahliya, just like I imagined. And but one of the things that I called for on a personal level was the integration of PE in public schools. Just because I went to a private school, it doesn't mean that the millions of girls in the kingdom were also in need of physical activity in their own schools. And 24 hours after the debate in the Shura Council, the Minister of Education announced the integration of PE in public schools. We were elated because we felt like everything was unfolding very fast, yet very smooth. These are images of me driving the eve of the royal decree. Also, the stadium that I went to for the first game with my kids. It was a magical day because a lot of times people were really worried about women attending stadiums, and the debate was just very frustrating at the time. In the middle, you'll see a picture of our girls in Sharjah. So the dream of me watching a live girls basketball team was actually our girls who were training, winning the Sportsmanship Award in Sharjah in 2018. Women didn't only make it to the police force, they actually also made it to the military today. Because I was a parliamentarian, I wanted to combine sports and politics. So I continued playing, I continued being active in Riyadh, and there was an initiative by some of the women diplomats, and the president of Switzerland actually invited us, a group of Riyadh United women, to Switzerland for a sports exchange 10-day camp. We went, it was one of the most amazing experiences. We built so many friendships with a lot of women in Switzerland, and we continued to also represent the Saudi new vision and the changes that for a long time people didn't realize everything was happening so fast and so magical. After we came back, that very same week, the world shut down. Saudi Arabia shut its borders. The world was facing a new enemy, and the enemy was COVID-19. The pandemic was a very stressful time for the whole world. But what was important was that physical activity was recommended by the WHO, and that it was very important for the immunity to continue being active even if you were in your own home. and the world prevailed. We persevered. 2 years later, there was an announcement that there was going to be the largest national sports event in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. And our girls were getting ready. These were the girls who were training. Some of them were on the team for 17 years, ever since they were grade 2. And their coach asked them to write down their goals, what they want to achieve. And I remember that there was a big board and everybody wrote their dream down, why they want to win this tournament. And when the tournament started, they were the undefeated team in the Saudi Games of 2022. Of course, that was ecstatic for us. You know, one of the most prestigious sports events sponsored by the king himself, of course, organized by the Saudi Olympic Committee. But what happened after that game was that 3 of our main players, including captain of the team, decided to transfer to another club. And if you know basketball, I'm sure everybody knows basketball, 3 out of 5 on the court means more than half the team. So half the team transferred. But what did they do? They believed in themselves, they trained, and they followed their dreams in winning gold for the 2nd consecutive year. And that is exactly what happened. They won for the 2nd consecutive year. And I just want to say that I'm honored to see some of our parents and players who've been with us in this journey. And I'm just very grateful for this opportunity and having, because at the end of the day, it wasn't just a one-man show or a one-woman show. It was a teamwork, and it was the families, it was the parents, it was the media. It was a lot of people who made this happen in a lot of ways. So even though for some of you may think, what's the big deal? I mean, it seems very normal, all of these dreams. Yes, they seem normal, they are normal today, but they weren't normal when I was dreaming about them when I was in high school. They were the impossible. So my advice is that no matter how big a dream may seem, write it down. Because if you do write it down, you have 42% more chances of it making it come true. And not only that, it crystallizes your dreams. So think big, dream big, and believe in yourself to transform your dreams into reality. Thank you very much. I will leave you with that.